So this is round one of Souls of Black Folk, and the prompt is: what is a question you have about the souls of Black folk that we have not discussed? My question personally was: why does Du Bois fight for the freedom and equality more than respect from the white people?
Okay. So did you want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay. So honestly, him fighting for equality and what you said, freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I believe that's a good choice to fight for equality and freedom. The reason why is because who wants to be in a place, right,
Yeah.
where you're literally it's blank, like you can blankly see you're being treated in a different way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In one way it could be good, but in another way it could be like, yo, this is real intense. It's a little bit uncomfortable, like to know that I know you don't like me and you treat me like I'm trash. Because I do remember in that article or in that chapter, I did, if I'm not mistaken, I did see where he said they had a law or the Constitution where it says that we were only a quarter of a human or something like that, or half human or something like that. And it was just like to live in that day, I wonder how that felt, to know that this is what they thought of you, that you were only half of a human. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to get like long winded, but that's my view on it personally. Uh Mr. Boykins, do you have a view on it personally, or can you hear? Oh, okay. Did you
My
have a
view,
oh okay.
okay, so my view is um me basically being a black man and wondering how other acted as far as white people and Indians and so forth, how they look at each other and um the things that we all just go through as being men. I mean, I don't know. I was just really going off of the question that I had, and that was, who is the problem?
Okay. All right.
So mom, I would like to argue your statement because although fighting for freedom was a good idea and equality, there are texts in the passage that states that, for example, Du Bois, when he was younger, he went up to a white girl with some trading cards or whatever,
Mhm.
and she treated him as if he's nothing and less than. And it described, and he described that as if like it was a veil over them, over her, blocking him from her, as if it was a veil. So I feel like they should have fought for respect.
You know what? I can see that. Why? Because a big thing that men like to have is respect. That's a big thing for a man. Even well, I'm only bringing this up because he did quote scripture. So even in the scriptures, it says, "Wives, respect your husbands." It was a point to say that the man needs respect. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
even God Himself, He orders respect. Like you gonna respect Him. So I can see your point of view with that. Me as speaking from a woman's point of view, I mean, yes, it's good to have respect, to be respected, but that wasn't my biggest point with that. So I can see why we got two different views on what would have been important. You know what I mean? So, okay,
Okay, so we can go to round two now.
okay.
Choose two prompts below. I chose the central idea of Du Bois develops throughout the text and what is Du Bois' definition of freedom. For the first prompt, I basically said the central idea is that Afro Americans, African Americans, us,
Mm-hmm.
we suffer extreme prejudice and we still fought for freedom, self-respect, and an opportunity to education, while contributing heavily to the American society. And to back this up, in the text it says, this then is the end of his striving to be a co-worker in the kingdom of culture, to escape both death and isolation, to husband and use his best powers and his latent genius. And that was talking about us, the black people, how we still helped build this culture, American culture,
Right.
whilst, you know, facing the feelings of death and isolation as if we're nothing.
Right. Okay. So was that your central idea?
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't say like I disagree, but I do say I got a secondary um thought for it, if I could. Me and Mr. Boykins, we came up with this one ourselves, just from reading the text, and this is what we came up with. So our central idea says the author W.E.B. Du Bois in his article is speaking about the inequalities that the Negro people face in America. And he wanted to know and understand why blacks could not and were not and are not afforded the same opportunities. He used an example from the Bible about how our God about how our God of heaven never wanted us to serve other gods. And to this point, I wanted to mention that the Bible has many examples to show what God did to his people when they would fall into sin and rebellion against him. He would let their enemies capture them and take them up under slavery. Just as it says, just this last time when we were brought to America as slaves, this incident, which can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, says, and the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships. Egypt is considered the house of bondage. That's what America has been for black folk, a house of bondage.
Right.
By the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again, meaning we shall never see that promised land again, not in this time anyway. And have we seen it? No, we've not lived over there ever since we've been brought over here. Okay. It says, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you, meaning we're going to be here until he comes back, because because in the past he would let us be captured, let us go into slavery, and then he will save us from the slavery. He said he wasn't doing it this time. We're going to be here until he comes back. And he meant it, because we're still here.
Hey, can I add on to what you're saying? I agree, because you said that he used Bible verses and scriptures to basically point out the fact how we were brought into bondage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how God said that we would not see the promised land, not in this lifetime.
Right. And I'll say, there. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
In paragraph 8, it says the first decade was merely a prolongation of the vain search for freedom, the boon that seemed ever barely to elude their grasp. So that's basically saying that they felt that they could have freedom, but they really wasn't grasping it. It was in vain. It was a failed attempt.
Right. It's kind of like it's like trying to pick up a cup of water with no cup. Like trying to grasp a cup of water with no cup there. You know what I mean? Like with your bare hands, trying to make a cup of water. It's like the ideal of it seems like maybe I could do it by scooping up some water, but the water essentially is just going to scoop out out the cracks of your hands. So no, you essentially cannot grasp a cup of water with just your bare hands. You might grab your little sip, but not a full cup. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like I believe what you're saying, where it's like they were grasping for freedom that they felt like they could have, but it was like when you see you're almost getting close to something and it just gets pushed way further back. So yeah, I definitely could see that point of view. Do you all think that we're still currently in slavery? As far as I think we're still in mental bondage, mental chains, where it's like we were taught a certain way for generation after generation after generation, where now we have this complex about ourselves, where it's like dark skin against light skin, or super curly hair against like straighter hair. Then you got coarse hair against like not as coarse hair. You see what I'm saying? It's like different things that were implanted inside of our community that literally makes us still be in bondage, literally. So I guess that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I would go on and on. So go ahead.
Pops, you got something to say?
Okay, so once again, I just feel as though being a black man is always going to be an issue, but because we, as being in the minority of where we stand, I think everybody is just equal. So yeah, it just all depends on where you live, how you do, and what you do.
Right. So
Man.
essentially, what it sounds like you're saying is no matter what the system says, we are equal, period.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a great point of view. All right. So, what's the next? I think it's another outline we have to do with this, right?
Yeah, it's the second one. It's the second one on round two. Select one quote. No, it's not that. The second prompt is Du Bois' definition of freedom. And I wrote for that he basically only wishes for man, Negro, and American white man to live. He wants them to live together without having any conflicts or one feeling as if they're less than the other, one feeling like they're better or superior, inferior. He didn't want that. He wanted true freedom, equal opportunities, and fellowship.
Okay. And is that what you feel as well? Is that what you
Yeah.
want? Okay. And does his point of view kind of remind you of the same point of view that Dr. Martin Luther King had, or so he portrayed anyway to have?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that it reminds me a lot of Dr. King. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um. Yeah. So that was my counter question to that. So I guess we can go ahead and move on from it if you want.
Okay, and my quote from the text that backs up what I just said. Um, for a man to be both Negro and an American without being cursed and spit upon by his fellows, without having the doors of opportunity closed roughly in his face, backs up what I basically said his definition of freedom is.
Okay. So I'm assuming this is not a comparison between the two books that we read. This is
No,
just.
this is two. This is still round two.
Oh, okay.
Ma,
All right. So
you have to give a textual evidence for your prompts.
I did. Okay. So
I have to give mine.
right. Okay. So look.
Now we can go to round three.
Oh. Okay. Oh, it's like 'cause I wrote down some stuff, but okay. All right. Go ahead. We can do round three.
Round three, my prompt was what similarities or differences are there between Souls of Black Folk and an address by Elizabeth Cady Stanton? And I wrote The Souls of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, argues that Booker
It's okay. Take your time.
Mom, you can go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on this. Okay, great. So, my comparison, right, of the two books and authors, W.E.B. Du Bois used more logical argument and quoted his biblical references with accuracy. Yeah, with accuracy. One thing I would explain to him is that blacks still being in bondage in America, or in other words, Egypt, is because it was already prophesied that we would be here until he returns, he being God, to set us free from this, set us free. This is what the day of the Lord is about, when he gathers the nations together to plead for his people that are in foreign lands. While Elizabeth, however, was reaching for rights that the Bible already said would never be. And I spoke and proved earlier, this judgment is rightly so, because when they were equal, she caused her husband, her being Eve, caused her husband to sin. And this is why Adam got cursed. And the woman and man are no longer equal. God placed Adam over Eve, which is what Elizabeth essentially was saying she didn't want. She didn't want her husband to be over her. Okay. But God did this in his own divine order. He placed Adam over Eve. And the reason why, as I explained earlier, is because through Eve's, I'm going to say it how it is, her easily being manipulated by the serpent, right? She was able to be manipulated by the serpent. And that's why he was able to get her to eat from the tree that her husband had already told her to not eat from, because God told him directly not to eat from that tree. Long story short, you all, he placed Eve under the submission of her husband for that very reason. She used the Bible in a manipulative way that if a person who doesn't know what the Bible says, they would easily be misled by her.
Right. And I agree. But, Mama, I ain't gonna lie. I had pressed the wrong one. I did the ones by the Atlantic Compromise, but I remember stuff from Elizabeth Cady Stanton's address as well. So the reason I agree is because what you said, she wanted to use the Bible in a manipulative way, and that was basically for credibility. And along with that, in the text, she also stated that women have the better outfits, like women's clothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, she was saying that women have better clothing, and she used examples by saying that even the Pope wears women garments.
Right. Right.
And that was basically her giving like a form of credibility. So yeah, using
to prove her
like
point that women's clothing are better. Right. Like I said, she did that throughout her whole text, where it was like she'll say one point and then she'll give like a biblical reference or something of the Christian faith where it'd be like, yeah, see, and even this proves it. But it's like, first of all, you picked a very false religion to even go off of, as far as talking about the Pope. What the Pope doing ain't got nothing to do with what God said. Talking about he wearing women's clothing. Matter of fact, it said in the Bible that man shall not wear the same thing that woman wear, and woman shall not wear what men wear. So therefore, that being said, what if she was going to use the scriptures, she should have used the correct scriptures. You see what I'm saying? So like you said, manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it.
Pops, you got something to, before we wrap it up?
No, that's where I got part of my answer.
that was pretty much it. Me and your mom really had did our discussion, so I allowed her to talk. Uh, I'm at work or whatnot, but I still want to participate.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, you all. So, I'm not to take over my baby stuff, but listen, we're now finished with the end of our discussion or what have you. I hope you all enjoyed this very much. If you did, hit the thumbs up. If not, too bad. This was the best that this was probably going to get. We did great. All right, then. Have a great day.